Okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. So, hi. My name. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to put this in a different view than I have it. There we go. Great. Hi. My name is Sascha Bretzger, and I am in the class of 2023 at Wellesley College. And I'm a student visitor assistant at the Davis Museum. And I'm here today speaking with 2019 to 2020 visiting lecturer in art, Elizabeth Mooney, about her contributions to the Q20 showcase. Thank you so much for being here and speaking with me.
Yeah, my pleasure, Sasha. Thanks for inviting me to participate.
So if I can go ahead and get started, I think the first question is, what did you learn as an undergrad that still influences your artistic practice today?
Sure. I think one of the biggest lessons that I took away from my experience as an artist, as an undergraduate student, was the lesson of mistakes and the lessons of potential failure in the studio. I think questioning what success may be and even challenging that for yourself is something that I'm constantly reflecting back on in my own studio practice. Sometimes, you'd start a project where you'd have this idea of how it might end up, and you may be disappointed that it ended up in a different way. But I think being open to those changes and building upon some mistakes, they actually can turn into something that's hugely positive and can be a great contribution to a creative practice and process. So it's something I think about a lot now in my own studio practice, is to maybe like suspend judgment from something that I may think is an error in a painting or an error in a sculpture, and try and be open to the potential and the possibilities for some of those flips.
Fantastic. So then how does your teaching influence your art and vice versa?
Sure. So I teach a lot of drawing and painting and printmaking classes, and from the foundational level to even graduate seminars. And I think even just with the foundational classes, revisiting some of those like core techniques and processes for me in my studio can be a really great reminder to get my feet back on the ground and reconsider those approaches and reconnect with that structure. Another thing too is, I think in terms of image making and painting, one of the things I consider in my own studio practice is like, how does a painting work? What are the constructs that we've created in terms of image making, and how can we challenge that, and how can painting function in 2020? And it's something that I think about in my own work, and it's something that I challenge my students to consider as well, and to open up that conversation in terms of how painting and drawing can operate.
Great. So the Davis mounts a faculty exhibition every 5 years. How did you decide what to include in Q20?
Sure. I was really excited at the opportunity to create a new kinetic sculpture that could fuse together like analog and digital technologies. So for me, that was a really big shift in my own studio practice. And I thought just putting that piece in between two static paintings and having that like big long wall as a place to kind of frame that conversation between how different types of technologies can work in image making would be an exciting thing to explore. I also was really excited at the opportunity to show my work in concert with my colleagues, and the potential conversation that could happen between the relationships of the other work and the exhibition, which I thought was really terrific and exciting to see.
I was a student visitor assistant, so I was on the floor with visitors as they were interacting with the art, and especially I remember your pieces, people standing in front of it and looking at it and kind of comparing it with the painting, just as you were intending, I think, because I think it really worked out. What have you learned from your students?
I've learned a lot from my students. And Sasha, I'll be honest with you, I'm always learning from them. And I feel like being open to something new is one of the things that I think I take away from almost every class. I've also learned about the power of curiosity. And I always get so excited when I see like that genuine in like that curiosity and inquisitive nature of students and how they want to like just pry open everything and learn all aspects of it. So yeah, I think it's like the power of that curiosity and how that can really feed a creative process. And also, I think I've learned a lot about patience from students, both on my end and their end, and how important that can be in terms of like listening and receiving information and group dynamics. I think that is another thing that I learned so much from them too. I also learned like about optimism, about the future too. I learned a lot about that from my students.
Do you have any, like, I think that's such an interesting point about optimism. Like, what exactly about that do you feel that came from them?
Sure. I think to stem off this idea of curiosity, like really wanting to unpack something and like see things, the potential of something and how it can work, but then also the curiosity to maybe challenge it or to push against and to build on top of something. I think that's like a really terrific way to like build hope and like challenge the future and think about what we accept and how we can affect change in that way.
Fantastic. And then I guess the last question for today would be, what are you working on now? What's your new project?
Sure. Well, I'm in my studio right now, and I'm constantly working on developing new paintings. That's like a thing that's forever generating in my studio. I try to always have several of those going at the same time. And I'm currently working on developing a print for a small project at Wellesley University. They're working on like an alumni portfolio. So I'm trying to build up on that. And I have a new kinetic sculpture in the mix, in the works, as they say, that is kind of branching off from where I started with the kinetic piece in the Davis exhibition that's fusing analog and digital technologies, but I'm incorporating objects from nature within the work. So I'm bringing in some different grasses and different ways to address movement and motion within the work. So I'm excited about it. So I'm busy.
Yes.
And I'm also teaching, you know, and there's also pandemic. So all the things. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I really appreciate it. And thank you, and good luck with the grasses.
Thanks.
Right.
Thanks for meeting with me today. Take care.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.